Robespierre wanted justice. He wanted equality. He wanted a new France. But somewhere between moral purity and political survival, justice became punishment, and punishment became a machine. What turns a man obsessed with virtue into the face of terror? Not greed, not madness, not even cruelty in the way we usually imagine it. Maximilien Robespierre did not begin as a tyrant in silk robes dreaming of blood. He began as a believer, a quiet, disciplined man who thought society could be purified. And that is what makes his story dangerous. Because history is rarely shaped by villains who know they are evil. More often, it is shaped by men who become so certain of their righteousness that they stop hearing the screams around them. Robespierre was born in Arras in 1758 into a respectable but fragile family. His mother died when he was still a child. His father, unable to hold the family together, drifted away. By the age when most children learn safety, Robespierre had already learned absence. He was raised with discipline, scholarship, and expectation. He did not grow into a warm, easy man. He grew into a serious one, reserved, controlled, sensitive to humiliation. In school, he excelled. Books offered what life had not: order, logic, fairness, and like many lonely young men with sharp minds, he found comfort in ideas stronger than people. Ideas do not abandon you. Ideas do not lie. Ideas promise a world that makes sense. As a young lawyer, Robespierre built a reputation not through charm, but through principle. He defended the poor. He spoke about fairness, citizenship, and moral responsibility. But principle can hide another hunger: the need to control chaos. France, at the time, was a country cracking from hunger, debt, and humiliation. The monarchy looked distant. Privilege looked untouchable. The people looked disposable. For men like Robespierre, this was not merely political failure. It was moral sickness. And when a person begins to see society not as flawed, but contaminated, compromise starts to feel like betrayal. That is the first shadow in his story. Not violence, but purity. Then came 1789. The French Revolution did not only overthrow an old order, it gave Robespierre a stage large enough for his convictions. In the Estates General and later the Revolutionary Assemblies, he spoke relentlessly for popular sovereignty and against corruption. He was not the loudest man in the room, but he was often the most certain. That certainty became power. The revolution rewarded men who sounded unbreakable. And Robespierre, with his rigid moral language and incorruptible image, seemed almost built for collapse. When the old world began to burn, he did not panic. He believed history was finally making room for virtue. As revolution turned into war, rebellion, and fear, France no longer wanted philosophers. It wanted guardians. Robespierre became one of the most powerful men in the Committee of Public Safety. He argued that the revolution could not survive with half measures. Enemies were everywhere: royalists, traitors, conspirators, opportunists, even former allies. And in crisis, his logic hardened. If virtue was the goal, then terror could be the instrument. To Robespierre, this was not hypocrisy. It was necessity. He famously tied the two together. Virtue without force was weak. Force without virtue was corrupt. So he built a politics where mercy looked suspicious and doubt looked treasonous. This is where Robespierre crossed the line from reformer to symbol of fear. Under the machinery of the terror, thousands were executed. trials became thinner. Suspicion became enough. The revolution began devouring its own children. Robespierre still spoke the language of morality. He still believed he was saving the Republic. But once a leader decides that only he can define virtue, every opponent becomes evil by definition. And evil, in that mindset, does not deserve debate. It deserves removal. His world had become brutally simple: the pure and the corrupt, the faithful and the traitors, the future and its enemies. That kind of certainty can kill faster than hatred. Eventually, the fear he helped create came for him too. By 1794, even fellow revolutionaries believed Robespierre had become too dangerous to leave standing. He had purified the revolution so aggressively that almost no one felt safe around him. And that is the final trap of political terror. It isolates the man who commands it. When he appeared before the convention, his authority was broken. He was arrested, wounded during the chaos that followed, and dragged toward the same machinery that had consumed so many others. The Republic he tried to cleanse did not remember him as its savior. It remembered the blood, the fear, and the silence. Robespierre died by the guillotine on July 28, 1794. In the end, he was destroyed by the same revolution he tried to control. But his story is not just about France. It is about a pattern that repeats across history. A wounded mind finds certainty. Certainty finds power. Power stops tolerating doubt. And once a man believes he alone can purify the world, terror begins to look righteous. Robespierre did not fall because he lacked ideals. He fell because he trusted his ideals more than human complexity. And maybe that is the darkest origin of all. Not evil born in chaos, but evil born in the absolute certainty of being right.